All right, welcome back, everybody. You know what time it is. It's Wednesday night at 8 p.m. It is the Relationship Gumbo Podcast Live Edition. And tonight we got a show that's probably a couple years in the making as far as having an expert on trauma. We're going to talk about trauma. We're going to talk about breakup trauma. This is the trauma that y'all don't think about, calling it that word. We're gonna do a small deep dive on that tonight. So hopefully everybody's having a good week, staying safe, all that good stuff, staying away from all these Greek letter, Delta, Lambda. I don't even know. Hopefully nothing else come after that, but y'all just please stay safe. Because we need y'all here, man. We need y'all here. We need each other. So let's look out for each other, please. I have to say that. What I need for you to do first and foremost, this is the most important thing. Share and invite this with your friends, your family, your cousin, your grandma, everybody that you know that's dealing with some stuff, especially relationship breakup stuff. Make sure you share this with them tonight. If you're here on the replay, put hashtag replay so I know that you're here. Now, what I need for you to do is to give me 30 seconds to make sure that everything is doing what it's supposed to do so that I know that everybody that needs to see it can see it, and I'll be right back. So stand by.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derek Jones about to break it down with the Relationship Gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, cause better relationships need better ingredients, so if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derek Jones the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship Gumbo,
All right, we are back. Welcome, everybody. And what we're going to do, well, first couple things, right? This show is also an audio podcast. There's two things I want to talk about. First, this show is also an audio podcast. So when the show is over, I'm going to upload the audio. So it's going to be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, everything, everywhere you can find a podcast. I'm there. So second thing is, next week, I'm going to say this at the end of the show too. Make sure you come back next week, because next week is a celebration show. It's the 100th show. It took a long time to get there. We got there in a year and a half ish, a year and like almost 7 months. So we did a lot of shows. Who knew we'd get this far? But we got a celebration, and I have an all-star cast coming on. It's going to be for 7 more people on the screen with me, and we just going to celebrate. We're going to do a show, what I'm calling a blind relationship question show. So they're not going to know the questions. They just got to sit back and answer them. So they're going to be in the hot seat. So it should be fun. Make sure you come back next week. So make sure on YouTube to make sure you hit that subscribe and click that bell so you can get notified, because we're going to have some fun next week. So without further ado, if this is your first time, the way that I do this to make sure that the audio is good is I will pause for 3 seconds, start the actual podcast portion, and then pause for another 3 seconds at the end so I can chop it off nice and pretty for you guys so you can listen to it in your car or while you're laying in your bed watching whatever kind of random reality TV or whatever. You can have me in the other ear. So without further ado, let's get this podcast started so we can talk to my guest and get some of this trauma information to you guys. So stand by. Give me my 3 seconds. And welcome to another episode of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones, and I am your host. I'm a certified life and relationship coach, a strategist, an engineer, and a mental health advocate. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about breakup trauma and recovery, because we can't just give you the trauma without telling you some little tidbits of how can you possibly start to work yourself out of it. This is a heavy topic. It's very personal to me, because y'all have heard some parts of my story. Maybe some of you have or haven't, but I got, and it never leaves. You just learn how to manage it better, but it's in there. We're going to talk about that tonight. But I have an amazing guest tonight. And by way of, I think, Clubhouse, you never know where you find people. But when I saw her profile and it said trauma recovery, I was like, my folks need to hear this. Derek need to hear this. We all need to hear this, right? So I'm going to bring her up, and I'm going to let her tell us a little bit about herself and what she does. So give me 1 second here. I'm gonna bring her up and unmute her. Welcome to the show, Mrs. Felicia Johnson.
Hello,
Welcome to the show. Let everybody know who you are and what you do.
I'm excited to be here. Hey, beautiful people. So I am Felicia Johnson. I am a trauma recovery coach, a childhood trauma coach, and really conflict resolution because I think it's so very important in today. And I just want to give it up, Derek Jones. You just said 100.
100 shows.
100
Yes.
shows. What?
Yeah.
A round of applause to you.
Thank you.
I'm glad to be in that number. But man, I'm excited to be here and congratulations on just doing what you do because you need it.
Thank you. So let everybody know about what you do with the trauma. Like, okay, so let's do this, right? I'm gonna put a little spin. So you coach people on trauma recovery, and what else did you say? Childhood trauma and what else?
And conflict resolutions.
Okay.
So
now, so I told you this wasn't going to be an interview, but I got one interview question. Okay. What made you get into that?
Oh, that's a good question. So I really became a trauma recovery coach really because of my own story. At a very young age, I was sexually abused and physically abused by my family members. That resulted in me being taken away and placed in the foster care system. I was raised in the foster care system and it was like devastating to me. Devastating to like the point that I just had a hard time growing up. Like I couldn't trust nobody. I barely was just had any relationships far as either in school, parenting, in and out of group homes, in and out of foster homes. And it really wasn't until I got until my adulthood where I began to heal from everything that happened to me as a child. And hey, don't get me wrong, when we talking about this healing journey, it wasn't like a quick fix. It was like one step at a time.
Right.
And even all those years that I felt like I was alone, that I didn't have nobody, when I got into college, everybody, my friends and my associates, they would come to me telling me about their problems and about what they were going through. And I'm like, why are y'all telling me all y'all issues? But their issues with childhood trauma and trauma experiences. So that resulted in me to get my degree in that field of psychology, as well as become a trauma recovery coach. So that's why I do what I do.
Wow. I'm gonna tell you this though, because I also know a couple of people that kind of do what you do with therapists, coaches, things like that. This what you do, especially focusing on trauma. I have to give you, even as just me being like a relationship coach, the things that you have to take in on a daily basis and consume as far as emotions and the things that people go through, it takes a special kind of person to be able to do that and really be able to kind of move throughout your life and kind of detach from it. Because a lot of times it consumes you, and trauma ain't no light thing. For you to choose that, even though you've been through some stuff, I commend you for that, because that's not that's right there. That's something that's needed, but you got to be a special breed of person to be able to deal with that and really like coach people on it. So and again, I'm glad you're here because we got some things to talk about. So let's go ahead and peel back the meat on the chicken tonight. We're going to the white meat right now. Trauma as it relates to breaking up with someone. It took me a long time to figure out that it wasn't just hurt, that it was traumatic for me. I'm gonna give you my little 30-second blurb because people that heard this, people that follow me have heard this a million times. My first 3 girlfriends, they all cheated on me in a row. By the time I got to the 3rd one, it stopped becoming hurt. It changed me forever. And at that point, now I can identify that as that last one was a serious, like, traumatic event for me. And it changed how I viewed the world, how I viewed women, and it made me turn into something that wasn't healthy, and it made me go out and hurt other people.
Right.
And so my question to you is, how could someone identify maybe something that they've gone through where it could be labeled as trauma?
Mm.
Like, what are some of the things that someone could say, well, I got hurt, but now it's traumatic? Like, what kind of things could be the difference between the two?
Okay, so there's this misconception about trauma, that trauma is this, you got to be physically abused, domestic
Hmm.
violence, but that's not what trauma is. Trauma is anything that has happened in your life that has wounded you, that has caused you a pain, that has changed your perspective of yourself, of that person, of the world. And it can be as little as losing a loved one. It can be
Hmm.
as big as domestic violence. It can be as small as a natural disaster. Heck, it can be coronavirus
Oh,
being
absolutely.
dramatic.
Yeah.
So it's like we have to break this stigma, and I call it a stigma because we've all been hurt. And
Hmm.
studies show that, like study have shown that most of 80% of adults have said they've gone through some type of trauma in their lifetime.
Hmm.
Now that's a whole lot of people that's hurting
Right.
and we
Right.
don't talk about it. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to say that about you were hurt. It was traumatic. And then
Yeah.
not only was it one time, it was like three times.
Three in a row. I was like, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? I was like,
So
why? And I was like, what? And so I changed myself into something that couldn't be hurt.
yeah.
Right.
And
And
we do
that is
that.
where I then made my trauma for other people.
Hurt
And
people.
that is the part that I could never like, I was part of the problem.
Yeah.
But it's the reason why this is important to me and to a lot of the people in my in the comments and in the audience is because of the stigmas in our communities, we wouldn't even know or even classify it as a real problem. We
Right.
just keep moving, right?
Yeah.
And I always talk about this on the men's show that I do called Real Shop Talk. We we always talk about how for men and women, we cover our trauma by going and sleeping with people,
Mm,
right?
mm,
We go, that whole saying, if you get over one, you got to
yep.
get under another one.
I don't know.
That behavior,
It's a toxic,
it's
unhealthy trait.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I guess the next question the next area that I want to kind of segue into in saying that is when people start to try to heal themselves by doing these toxic things, how I'm trying to phrase it the right way. Let me do this. I'm gonna phrase it
I
the right way because I
know.
want it to make sense. But this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read a couple comments and then I'm gonna ask you my question
Okay.
because I need because I'm not just thinking about me. I'm thinking about the people in the comments. I
All right.
know them. This my family. I want to make sure that I serve them properly. Dope discussions with Erica podcast says trauma is very invasive. We have normalized it so we don't easily identify it. Right.
Agree. Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
Love Tucker says all of us traumatized people moving around with other traumatized people like bumper cars.
Ooh, that's good.
So yeah,
Hurt
so
people. It just she put that in like hurt people, and that's
yeah,
what you get. And
yeah.
if we're not willing to address it, we bumper cars.
So now my question to you is okay. Well, here's the first question:
Okay.
do you often get people in your coaching that are directly coming in because of trauma, directly from a relationship breakup or something dealing with a relationship? Does that happen a lot?
Yes, I believe that. Okay, most of my clients have had some type of relationship trauma, whether it was a relationship between marriage couple or relationship. And I'm gonna say relationship as just with family. A lot of times we don't realize that the relationships we get in are from our trauma perspective, our trauma response. So when we are in these relationships, we use, and I think I'm gonna touch on your question on this, is that we try to find things like you said. You had this mentality of, oh, y'all not gonna hurt me no more, so let me turn to something that you're not gonna hurt me. So
Mm-hmm.
we become this person of suppressing who we really are, suppressing
Mm-hmm.
how we feel, suppressing like our emotional need connection. So I'm gonna give you the surface part of me, but I'm never gonna give you my heart or mind part of me. So I'm gonna suppress it with alcohol. I'm gonna suppress it with weed. I'm gonna suppress it with relationship after relationship. I'm just suppress it with not even being bothered with y'all and not even trying to commit. So I'm gonna move to one person, to another person, to the next person, to the next. And so
Right.
that's really what it is it's in that moment of saying, oh, I'm not going to let you hurt me, or I'm going to protect me, and whatever that looks like and it's different for each individual, because when we get traumatized, it's not just, oh, we do this, this, and this. No, it looks like different phases for different people. So
Right.
for me, when I knew that I was going through my traumatic experience, my thing, I was never committed. I can tell you that I had like two relationships in my life, because
Mm-hmm.
it was not, it was like, I can't trust you. I ain't trying to be in your face. I don't want to be bothered. So I don't get me wrong, I had relationals. I
Mm-hmm.
had relationals, but I never was in a committed relationship. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So we do things to the point of saying, you're not gonna hurt me.
Right.
So I'm gonna protect me.
Yeah. I got some good questions coming your way from the comments. So be prepared. Here they come.
Ready,
I'm
I'm ready,
starting
I'm
from the bottom. So I'm not doing them in order, guys, but I'm doing them in order of how I think they should be answered. Tony Massey Cooks from YouTube says, where is the line between suppression and self preservation?
oh, that's good. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Ooh, that's good. When you
Because, and now while you think about that,
go
I'm going
ahead.
to provide some context from my personal experience, right? I think for me, and and you're the expert, so if it sounds a little crazy, I hope you can make it make sense. I think my self preservation inadvertently suppressed some things, but self preservation was paramount. I did not want to feel that hurt again. But in me preserving myself from not wanting to feel that way, I suppressed all the other parts of me that probably needed to be present for me to move around and move about. Self preservation, when I was out here meeting people and dating, that was first and foremost. You wasn't going to get me. All the other stuff about Derek, all the good stuff, all the friendly, that was way you wasn't going to see that. And so I think sometimes, in my opinion, they kind of go hand in hand. But I don't. I'll read the question again, and then if you want to provide some context, he said, "Where's the line between suppression and self-preservation?"
Mm. So when I think about self-preservation, I think about you are protecting a part of you, like you're protecting a part of you that someone that if you're coming to genuinely that you don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course you're not going to give your all to a person, but you are conscious until that person show you that you can give another piece of you. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm going somewhere. So when I think about when you are suppressing, you are using something in an unhealthy way.
Mm-hmm.
Like self-preservation, if your self-preservation look like I have to be with this person or that person and that person, and you don't really have no commitment, there's a hurt there. So
Mm-hmm.
if your self-preservation looking like suppression, where, oh, I got to drink this every night to not think about this pain, or
Mm-hmm.
I got to do something to feel better or to be better, then that's not self-preservation.
Right.
My understanding of self-preservation is you are preserving, there's something there that you don't trust somebody with just yet,
Mm-hmm.
but not saying that you don't trust them fully or all the way, but you trust them to a point of, okay, we're getting to know each other. I'm getting to know you, or I'm new to this and I need to learn this. So I'm gonna inch my way in one step at a time. So
Mhm.
that's my answer to that.
Gotcha. I got a couple more. I think you answered this kind of lightly, but if you wanted to add on to the list that you gave, Erica from Dope Discussions podcast says, "What are some of the common behaviors that we engage in when we're dealing with trauma in an unhealthy way?" And I think you listed some things, but if you wanted to relist or add on to the list of some of the things that people do to deal with trauma in an unhealthy way.
Unhealthy ways that we deal with trauma. Just unhealthy relationships where we have to be in a relationship with different people, and we never really have a time to even digest, like you having sex with people every day or every night, multiple partners in a day or in a week span. That's not really healthy, especially for you, and not for somebody just looking outward, looking in, but that's not healthy for you emotionally, mentally, physically, or spiritually.
Mhm.
Drinking, you have to have a drink every time you go out. You have to have a drink every single day. You have to, for you to not feel a pain or feel something, you gotta smoke weed. See, for me, my suppression was weed. Like, I did
Mhm.
not want to feel anything when I was going through this healing process or going through pain. So my thing was, okay, I need a blunt. Or if somebody aggravate me, oh, I need a blunt. Or, oh, if somebody get on my nerves or if something wasn't going right, I need this, I need that. If you have to try to cover it instead of feeling that thing, that's
Yeah.
some ways we deal with trauma, and it looks different from people. When you find yourself just angry, just you wake up angry, nothing's really wrong, but it's just you're angry, you feel like you're not worthy of living. Like, these are all unhealthy ways we do and things we do with trauma.
Yeah. And I want to speak to this, but Erica also says some of our toxic coping tactics are more socially acceptable, so we engage in them as a long-term lifestyle. Example
Agree.
being a workaholic.
Agree.
Let me tell you something. Y'all know this.
Agree.
Happy hour on Friday.
Woo!
I said this on the show way back, but I was like, if you was to ever sit at a bar and ask somebody, you know, what's up, whatever, and they'll be like, man, the stress and everything that I'm going through, I gotta come here and get the edge off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, everybody in there feel like
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
And it's like, it
and
makes you
yeah,
want to think. It make you want to think. It's like, if y'all stress that bad, why are you going back to? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't work or you shouldn't go back to your job, but at the same time, if you have built up that amount of stress at the end of the week that you just got to get pissy strong, baby, we need to find some healthy tools that we can depress our, just calm down, because why we gotta
yeah,
wait till Friday?
the bar is a fantastic place to trauma bond.
Come on,
I never even thought about that until just this second.
I'm gonna tell
Damn
you
it.
my
I was
problems.
there.
I'm gonna tell you, hey, I'm with you, Derek. I'm gonna tell you my problems, you gonna tell me your problems, and we just gonna bond because we just been stressed this week and had just some issues going on. But it's true, we
Yeah.
we have a lot of patterns that we believe that is okay and that is right. But if we think about it, has this really helped us heal? Has it helped us get past with just coping with everyday life and living life in a way where we know how to manage stress or manage hurt or manage pain? Not saying, oh, well, I learned this way, so I'm gonna do it this way.
Yeah. I do have a question based on what you said you do. I need the clarification. You said childhood trauma. So does that mean you deal with adults who had childhood trauma, or do you actually deal with children, or both?
Okay. So I deal with adults who've had childhood trauma.
Okay. So then here's my next question. See, the wheels are spinning. If in me becoming a coach, right, and having these conversations with people every week for the past few years, and this is known information, but my personal experience to really see how the sheer number of how many of us have childhood trauma and things that have that have created the trajectory of our lives come from back there, and most of us don't get help for it. So that's why I said what you do is a lot more valuable than a lot of stuff that happens out here, because that's the origin story for a lot of people. A lot of people that's on here right now, I know them well. They've been through a lot of similar stuff, even from what you said that you went through. And wow. So so I'm just thinking about how deep that goes. So when you get people, do people come to you, do they know that that's the issue, or is that something that you help them figure out?
Not always. It's something that we have to figure out, because we have to understand how we are in relationships and how we our actions in life, how we do certain things. It's not from, oh, well, I was learned how to do this. Either you saw it happen, something happened in your life that made you get this understanding of make your behavior that way, or
Mhm.
it was something that you seen done in the home. And we don't think about our trauma, our childhood trauma, that it impacts our life in every area of our life.
Mhm.
How we show up in relationships, how we show up at our work, how we show up in our parenting. Like,
Yeah.
if you have kids and you've been through a traumatic experience as a child, 9 out of 10 you are parenting how you were raised. And
Yeah.
if we are not willing to take a step back from ourselves and just being having that self-awareness, really, of saying, okay, this is how I am in this relationship. Is there something that is going to happen? Like, we literally have attachment styles in relationships and how we relate to
Mhm.
people. And so how you relate to people is really something that stems from your childhood.
Yeah.
And I always believe that. Like, you can tell a lot about a person, and even if they're not not have been through anything, like, you can tell a lot from somebody's childhood by their values and the character and their
Yeah.
belief systems that they've had.
Yeah.
So that's how I approach it with my clients too, because we don't think that childhood was not important. Like, oh, that happened when I was a kid. That don't count.
Yeah. I do want to, yeah, reiterate what I think Erica said earlier, or someone said earlier, about how we normalize the trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Um and I think about, when we say things like somebody have daddy issues,
Mhm.
and it's funny, but it's really not. Like, I'm a grown man. A lot of this stuff I didn't even realize the gravity of it until like the past couple years, by talking to different people and different coaches. And I have a friend that's a coach that does, named Bernadette. She does fatherless daughters, and she coaches people that have issues from not having a father, women who have an issue. And that's just it. The behavior that comes with that,
Mhm.
um, it's cringeworthy a lot of times. And as men, we could care less.
Right.
And like I said, it's funny to say somebody has daddy or mommy issues, but it's really not funny, because a lot of people, it comes from a really traumatic, painful place. And I want to also say this too. We always think about childhood trauma as like molestation
Yeah.
and things like that. And I
Yeah.
think you alluded to that earlier, about what we think trauma really looks like. And it could be something as trivial as one parent not being there.
Yes, absolutely.
Could traumatize you for the rest of your life, but you don't even realize it, because
It's normal.
it's
It's
normalized,
normal.
and we laugh at it. We
Yep.
laugh at we laugh at promiscuity. We
Yeah.
don't ask where it comes from,
You're
right?
just going through a stage. Oh, or what would they like to say? Oh, it's a whole phase. You're just going through a whole phase. What? What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is it? Is it?
it's one thing to have sex, and it's and some of this stuff we be saying out here, I'd be like, wait, there's some no, there's no way. This is not just you having fun. There's something ain't right in that and we laugh at it. We have these words thought and hoe and
Yeah,
all of these things, ha ha, he, and it comes from a place and it then informs their decision making as they travel through life,
absolutely.
relationship after relationship, and they trying to figure out why is it always ending up the same way. And I'm
Why
like, that's
on?
why I always say, I affectionately say on this show, are you picking the person or is your trauma picking the person?
Oh, that's good.
It's it's and I had to go back in my history and say, damn it, most of the experiences I had was based on that trauma from when I was 21.
Yeah,
So let
and you
me let me
back
ask you, yeah, this. So let me ask you this question, right? As the trauma coach, since I have you here, um, when people say, whenever you experience a traumatic event, that you kind of stay there, how
mm,
true is that?
very true. You most time when we get hurt, that's that place of um you're not gonna hurt me and I'm gonna live in my womb because I'm hurt. uh Trauma affects your mind, trauma affects your body, trauma affects everything and every decision making that you try to make in life. And so when it literally consumes you, and especially if you don't know it's there, you're gonna live it out. You're gonna live like you've been traumatized. That's really what it is. When you've been hurt or wounded, and that's why I always try to get out of the word traumatized and traumatic, because if you've been hurt or wounded, that's your trauma.
Yeah,
Because like I said earlier, is that your hurt and wound is your experience that changed your perspective of your mind, of the world, and of yourself. So if I'm traumatized, I've been hurt in relationships, and then I never get into a place of where I'm realizing or have the emotional intelligence that, oh, um, I've been hurt. Maybe I need to evaluate some things. But then instead of doing that, I just go into another relationship and then I get hurt again. Then now you piling trauma and hurt on top of one thing after another. It's like that's what it is. And so it's like we have to get in that place of taking a step back and realizing, is this from out of my wound or my hurt, or is it me choosing this? Which one is it?
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna read a couple comments, and then that sparked another question that I have for you on this topic. I'm not gonna read all of them, guys. So if I don't say your comment, it's not on purpose. I love you all the same. I feel like a parent talking to 20 kids. All of y'all the same. I love all of y'all the same. Um, TK's Chronicle of a Black Sheep podcast says awareness is everything. Love
Yeah,
Tucker says what's sad is there are people that hunt for people with certain trauma. Very true.
okay.
Very true. Um, so that's going to be another thing I'm gonna touch on. uh, and I don't know how much time you have. We're not gonna be here all night, but I don't. People be booked and busy. But hopefully you got at
Yeah,
least another 30 minutes. Okay, because there's some things we need to talk about this, because that's why so many people are on here now, because it's like they want to hear this. Erica also says there's actually a group of predatory people who look for women with daddy issues
yes,
because they're believed to be easily manipulated.
yes.
Um,
Sadly, but true.
I'm going to stick my neck out here and I'm going to say something that I talk about a lot, but I was one of those men that did that. And this is me being transparent, but this is also a teaching lesson for some folks.
Yeah,
Mostly all of us have been through some things that we can classify as trauma. What you don't realize is that a lot of your behavior, it's almost like poker. They talk about what your tell is. I could tell if you lying, or if I could tell if what you. A lot of trauma has tells,
yeah,
and in men and women.
yeah.
And when a predator looks for your tail, looks for a predator doesn't look for someone that's healed
Right. Of course.
because it takes work.
Of course.
Looking for people who are broken. And when you are broken, as much as you sticking your chest out, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you one little nugget from the playbook. Especially you, I'm gonna talk about women right now. We got men, we got our own stuff. We can have a whole nother show about that. Matter of fact, I do a show on Monday with my boys, so we can do the man thing.
Yeah.
Women, this hyper independence and having to get validation because of all the accolades and all of that stuff. It lets me know that hyper need for that validation of your accolades is a tell.
Yes.
And a predator will look at that and he will feed into your need for that validation to the point where you end up getting played because you think you're so strong. You're really showing them your weakness. I'm telling you this, like I know rain is wet. Stop doing that.
Absolutely. And I don't know if I touched on attachment style. That is an attachment style. I think it's called anxious style, anxious avoided or something like that, where you need approval. You need someone to say how much they need you. Oh, that you want people to see how much you have, how much
Yep.
you do, but really you're not secure in you. That you are just I'm this, I'm that, and I'm that, but you
Yeah.
not feel you
And
not.
I smile to stop myself from really feeling the emotion of the things that I've done in my
Yeah,
past. But I need the reason why, one of the main reasons why I coach is because I don't want anyone to feel either how I felt or how I used to make people feel out of my pain. But here's the thing about this, what I'm talking about. This is how you know what I'm saying is true. And people, people like this in your family, what I'm about to say. Most people who are highly successful, especially women, their relationship skills are way down here. And predators know that.
yes,
So, oh, I got my degree and I got my car. Most of those people, their relationship skills is like that of a 20-year-old or a 16-year-old, and they don't realize it because they spent so much time building their career up that their relationship skills suck. Predators eat that up for lunch. And it works because your emotions need attention. Your accolades have nothing to do with your emotions. So that didn't grow while everything else was. And predators are like, got them. As long as I don't say nothing dumb out my mouth, as
right.
long as I appeal to the emotional side of you, all the rest of that stuff doesn't matter. So keep on shouting for your validation because that's making me even hungrier.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna land my plane on that one real quick
that's
because
good.
I had to get that out because it means
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
That is a truck to me. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It's
No, you
almost kind of like a
absolutely
trauma
right.
response when
Yeah,
people have to feel they have to do that because there's something else in their life that happened maybe as a child that makes them search for this extra
yes,
extra
indeed.
extra validation.
Yes, indeed. I agree with you 100%. And it's an
So
attachment style. It's proven. Like you need someone to, you need to feel needed, even though you not might not need them. You don't know how to regulate your emotions. So you're
yep,
right on with that, Derek. I agree with you.
yep, yep.
I,
When I was out there, the easiest prey,
you
doctors,
had them
lawyers,
successful.
nurses, the emotional intelligence was all the way down here.
Because
All I won't say all the time, but most of the time. But they were up.
right,
Success. You make
emotion.
more money if you make 10 times more money than me. As long as I know how to grab you here, it
Yeah,
didn't matter. I could make 30,000 a year. You wouldn't give a damn as long as that's
yeah.
being served. So
Emotion.
anyway,
Emotion.
um,
Go
um,
ahead. We're about to talk about this.
oh, I got stories for days. I'm a walking case study.
Yeah.
um, Love Tucker says we need to learn more about attachment styles. It will help us stop unconsciously choosing what we do not truly need or want.
Yes.
Dope discussions where Erica says there's a saying that a PhD woman gets manipulated by a GED man. Absolutely. The education doesn't teach you emotional intelligence.
Agree.
And so the next place I want to go with this, because I want to start to move towards solutions. But I do want to ask this: when someone experiences, and I'm not talking about a child, but more kind of like maybe when you're into adulthood, like maybe in your 20s, even 30s, when you experience something that we would define as a trauma, let's say it's a breakup or something that happens in a relationship, based on your experience as a trauma coach, what should be one of the first things they do once they experience that 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 traumatic event, and then this is my belief because I haven't read this stuff. Then there's a moment where you have choices to make as far as how you choose to recover. What should be one or a few things that they should be thinking about or doing at that point, if that moment when it does happen?
When that moment happens, I'm gonna tell you like this: take a step back and feel that thing. Feel that hurt, feel that brokenness, cry, be angry, be mad. Don't go and do. You can be mad. You don't gotta go out and commit crime and be trying to confront a person, talking about you did this to me, or confronting that woman or confronting that man. No, when I'm saying you need to take control over your emotions, feel that thing, acknowledge that thing. But at the same time, while you feeling that thing, realize what's happened. What happened? It doesn't matter if it was you, if it was him. You need to look at the whole picture and feel that thing. And once you get past of now you getting in that place of awareness. Well, this is what happened and this is what I feel and this is how I felt in that relationship and this is how I was acting in this relationship. Then you're going to go from there and you're going to begin to understand that, okay, I made this choice. And yeah, nobody forces you to be in that relationship. Nobody forces you to stay in that period of whatever happened or how long it ever happened. But you now need to get in that place of, I'm going to gather my stuff and take time for me. I need to get to know me. I need to get to know what I like. I need to get to know what I don't like. What are my non negotiables? Do they need to be a family person? Do they need to be a person that makes me laugh? Like, what are your non negotiables? Your non negotiables shouldn't be like, oh, they got to make seven figures or she need to look like a Coke bottle. Like, them are not non negotiables. But emotionally, what are your non negotiables? What are some things that you don't want happening with your emotions? And be real with you. A lot of times we don't want to be real. A lot
Yeah,
of times we are too busy worried about that person. And it might sound selfish, but sometimes you got to be selfish because I think a lot of times we don't even know who we are or know what we're trying to do or what is the point of this relationship. We never ask ourselves when we're dating, like, oh, what is the point of this relationship? Where are we going to
right.
go? Like, a lot of people don't, come on, people say that, oh, we're dating to marry. Are you really? But we need to get to that place of, let me take a step back and evaluate me. Have this hurted me, this broke me, so what do I need to do to get to this place of, I need to move forward? And even if I do move forward, okay, but what does that look like for me?
Right.
And so that's one of the first steps that I would say, like, feel that thing,
Yeah.
acknowledge, but you need to take a step back. Give yourself
Right.
time. Give
Right.
yourself some time.
Yeah, I think the most important thing to me, and I think what a lot of people need to remember is it's okay to feel
Mm.
the pain.
Yes.
You should feel it. You just can't stay
Yeah.
there.
And don't act
But
on the pain either. Don't.
yeah, you're human,
Yeah.
right? And I run across this quite a bit because people are in such a hurry to mute and mask the pain right now instead of just letting it go, instead of crying, instead of doing whatever. Because you know what people say about relationship breakups, a lot of times it's a mourning period, right?
Yeah.
It's grief.
It feels
So
like a loss. It feels like
yeah,
you
yeah.
lost somebody you love. It
Oh, see, Erica, I'm sorry. Her question is how important is the grieving process after a breakup? So she was reading our minds.
very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Um, this is the point that most of us skirt around.
Yeah.
And I want to stay here for a couple minutes because I think this is very important. That moment where you break up and it hurts, go through the grieving process, feel the pain, and while you're grieving, you have to know, and this is where I think recognizing that you don't know what to do
Hmm.
and that you may need to seek a coach or some type of therapy because you don't know
Right.
what direction to go. This to me is the most pivotal point in your healing process is to allow yourself to grieve, but also identify where you want to go next.
Yes.
If you don't do that, then you will be at the bar every day.
Absolutely. I,
You will make some crazy decisions
yeah.
to try to hurry up and put a band-aid on stuff.
And I,
And
yeah, that's good.
and we keep going and we keep doing it. And the whole thing that I talked about at the top of the show about, finding somebody to sleep with and or doing all of that kind of stuff. The problem with that is once that one is over, you then have to find another one and another one because you don't want to feel the grieving process or the pain. So you got to keep sleeping with people.
Yeah.
You have to keep doing it because you haven't given yourself any other options. And so today, I wanted this show primarily to let people know that you have options.
Yeah.
You have other options other than those things I talk about on this show and on the men's show about men and what we're conditioned with our reward center. We're trained to just go sleep with somebody.
Yeah.
So
Because
we get a pat on the back for sleeping with a bunch of women by other men,
and,
by
and
society. So
I think that I think that's so. My thing is that we get to this place of, oh, you don't know you missing. You don't know I'm about to get another one to replace you. I'm
yeah,
about to get a how dare he, or how could he go get another chick on me? Look at her. I'm about to go get him or do this, or how dare she? And that's that thing, like that's kind of like pride. Like you hurt. Just say you hurt. Why are you trying to act like you ain't hurt? You know you mad. Why you trying to act like you ain't nothing wrong? Like, oh, he don't know what he missing. She don't know what she got. You hurt. Just say that.
and yeah, that grieving piece. I'm gonna say it again. This and this is also another thing that I bring up too. We can talk about the tools we didn't have when we
Mm,
were younger, but you can't say that today.
yeah.
The tools are there, the professionals are there. More people are talking about it. You have a podcast, right?
Yes.
And you have all of the stuff that you do. And there's a lot of people on here that have platforms. We're talking about this stuff now. You have resources now. So now, as you move forward from today, when and if this crisis or this trauma happens, you now will hear our voices say, no, don't go that way. Go grieve first.
Ah, go cry it out. Go
And,
lay it out somewhere.
yeah, I think about the point where I I broke up, but I didn't know what to do.
Mm,
So
yeah.
I went to what I knew was going. I'm combing the clubs, right? I'm going back to 18-year-old me. How did I fix my problems? I don't. Let me go find somebody.
I'm about to replace this.
And here's the thing, right? Here's the big context. A lot of times when you go out there like that, oops, I'm a boyfriend. How did this happen? So now I now have infected this new situation
With the
inadvertently,
that's good.
and then the cycle keeps repeating because I'm going to hurt her.
Hmm.
I'm going to hurt her
Yeah,
at some point. May not be today, but I'm going to hurt her.
I'm
And
bringing.
when that happens, I
Yep.
have now created a trauma for somebody else. I talk about this a lot on my show, and
So
and we need to stop these cycles because it is not just harming us; it is harming these kids that then end up turning into your clients.
yep. And I'm gonna say this, Derek, because we can't just think that everybody wants to be whole, free, and at peace with themselves, with life, and just walk this earth all free and in peace and heal. So I must say this: it's a choice.
Hmm.
You have a choice to either continue to do the same thing or be the same way you are. But at the same time, you cannot get upset with what life gives you because you decide that you do not want to heal, you do not want to learn new patterns, or you don't want to take that time to grieve. And so
Yeah.
I always say that because I get in this place, even though I love all things healing, I love all things freedom, I can't just assume that everybody wants to be healed or free
Oh,
or whole,
you right about
right?
that.
And so, like we said, that there are people that go searching for women and men that are broken. We then have to take the responsibility and say, hey, I need to heal what's hurting me. So when a joker tries to come and say, oh, try to tell me nothing, something, I'm able to now. No, I'm whole. So I just wanted
Yeah.
to put that out there.
And the other side of that
Okay.
um, is you recognizing
Yes.
that somebody isn't whole and not going there, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So we can talk about how we need to get ourselves together,
Yeah.
but you exacerbate the issue when
Yeah.
you take on
Yeah.
someone that you know ain't right, and we
You
do it all the time.
can't change anyone.
Yeah,
You,
you fellas, y'all know when it ain't right. Women, y'all know when it's not
you
right.
know. You know.
Walk away from the light, Carol Ann. Like y'all need to, y'all we've all been there. But I'm saying now we have new information.
Yeah.
Stop exacerbating the issue when you know that this person needs a lot of work and you know on day one
Absolutely.
there's no emotions involved.
Run away. Run
Stop
far
this
away.
because what you inadvertently do is now you create a scenario where both of y'all are going to be damaged.
Yeah.
And who wants that? Like you you're the person that is saying how much people have been treating you bad, and
Yeah.
I've been hurt by this many people, and I don't trust, and I don't do that, and then you jump right in
Yeah.
to a situation where you got a hell of a project to work on.
And don't even give yourself time. You don't even know what you're doing yet. You still trying to figure life out.
I just I'm gonna read a couple of comments. I think we're getting close. We're getting close to an hour, so we're gonna wrap it up.
Oh goodness.
But I do want to touch on. I want to read these, and then I have a couple more things I want to ask you, and then we're gonna get out of here. Love Tucker says pain is an insatiable beast. Lolita says recognize the pain, let it visit, but you have to let it go at some point.
Yes.
Erica says our ego usually makes us skip the grieving process because we want to appear as if we are not hurt and we are happy about the breakup, but it's a lie. She also says when you see a person posting a bunch of happy photos after a recent breakup, we see through that. LOL.
Yes.
Lalita says you must befriend the grief before healing can begin. And Erica also says, yes, Felicia, some people don't want healing. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the stuff that I talk about, it sounds like I might have read up on some stuff. I ate it, spat it out for, I would say,
It's experience.
For at least 15 years straight. Easy.
Yeah.
And with people, what I've learned at this age now is we knew, we meaning when we was in our 20s and our 30s, as much as we hate to say it, we knew some dysfunctional stuff when it crossed our path. And when you then allow that dysfunction to enter into your personal space in your life, a lot of times it says more about you than it does them.
Yeah.
So I think we really need to look at it, and I talked about this on Monday on the other show.
Mhm.
You have the power to allow what comes in your personal space and not.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what that person tries to do. You control this.
I
And
agree.
especially if you've been through some trauma, you real triggery about a lot of things. Everybody don't get to come through there. While you in the process of trying to get yourself together and you all just want to see what's out there, cool, do you. But you still run that gate.
You got to protect you. You have to protect you. And I'm so glad you said that because that is so true. We cannot control not one person on this earth but us. Like you are absolutely right. We have 100% total control over how we respond, what we accept, what we don't address, what we do address, what we don't want, what we do want. We have total control over us. And we got
Yeah.
to get to a point like we need to know what are we not going to allow.
And
We
I
got
and I also want to say this, and then I have a final a kind of question to ask you about what you do as a coach. And I want to say this because I've heard this I would say in the past few months. Y'all know these type of people that you meet and they always have a crisis like every other day to the point where it almost takes them out mentally and physically, whatever. And it's new. Run. Run. Because that person is actively going through trauma in front of your eyes, and you have a choice. Some people want to say, people, more power to you. But you're going to have to absorb that too into your life.
yeah.
You don't have to save everybody.
You
I'm begging you.
you better save yourself. Go sit
Yeah.
down. You is not Superman or Superwoman.
When a lot of times you don't realize what stuff is, it takes you a while to figure it out. But when you first meet them and they like, yeah, my mama just died yesterday, and oh, my dog just passed, and oh, my job just fired me. Hold on, sir.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pray for you,
Yeah.
but I don't have to absorb this because I don't know you yet.
Yeah. And
So
especially if you don't know them. Like if you meeting a stranger, that is a lot of stuff being piled on top of you and you still trying to figure life out yourself. Um, and I'm not saying don't care for people, but it's saying you gotta be like, I'm so sorry for your loss, but I ain't in that emotional space to be
yeah,
there. You
it's a
gotta
lot
be
to take
real.
on. Because like
Yeah.
I was telling you prior to the show, even being a coach, you have to absorb people's stuff
Yeah.
in order to help. But if you're not a coach and you just out here dating, you get into a situation like that, you're absorbing 10 times more than we ever could out of one person, and you're not even trained to deal with that. So you got to carry that home with you every day because you want help. You try to help somebody get better. I
I'm
always
trying to
tell women, especially if you over a certain age, if you over 40, stop taking on projects, please. And that's coming from Derek. I didn't read that. I'm just saying you can look out for folks. I know y'all gonna go through some things, but if
yeah,
it's a project on day one
it's gonna be a project later on.
and he like 50 years old,
How you begin a thing is how you end a thing.
so we gonna start wrapping this up. I'm definitely gonna have you back for
All right.
something else. I
Hey,
know some other people on here gonna want to have you on their shows because I got a lot of folks on here that have shows. Because we want number one, um, We want you to be able to push your brand.
Yeah.
I think everybody on here is loving it so far. So, so my last question to you is: you, as a trauma coach, what are some of what? Let's name like maybe a thing or two where someone would identify that they actually need to come to someone like you. Like, just there's a point where you may be able to ride it out, and then there's another point where you say, okay, I need help.
Yeah. I'm tired of going through the same thing over and over again. I can't do this no more. I deserve more than this. I deserve better. This cannot be life. This is not just it. These are the things where most people, when they come and seek me out, that's where they are. That I'm tired. I don't think I can do this life thing. This I'm just tired. And when I get them like that, that is the perfect place to be, because now you're realizing that something that you've been doing or something that has been happening in your life is not right and it needs to change.
Yeah.
And so that is like the best place to me to be, because that's when you learn new patterns, when you get that support system, you hire a coach or you go to counseling. You sometimes we just need to really just lay on somebody's couch. See that
Yeah.
couch right there? Yeah, see that couch? Like you gotta lay on somebody's couch, because when we have been through all these different hurts and life is life. It's something, and we all experience it differently. And sometimes we just need to take that moment and be like, I just need to lay on somebody's chair, lay on somebody's couch, and I just need to talk about it.
Yeah. I really want to emphasize to the people that are viewing and the people that will view this in the future. I guarantee you don't know everything.
Yeah,
I 100% guarantee you. And it's hard for you to realize the path that you need to be on for your healing by yourself. It's
absolutely.
hard for you to talk to someone about your path and your process that's emotionally connected to you and even blood related to you. Sometimes you need someone that is not attached to you in that way, so that you can hear it from a different voice, so that you can start to plot your path,
Yeah.
especially when we're talking about trauma, childhood trauma, any other type of trauma. We are, I say we, meaning people who are like in my age group, Gen X, people that are on the latter middle, in their 40s, maybe even in their early 50s. We've seen in ourselves, we've seen in people's kids, we've seen what that looks like over someone's life and how devastating it could be. So you now not only have more information that you have access to, but we've seen it. We've seen these damaged men. We've seen these damaged women.
Yes.
Why would you want that for yourself
Are your children?
or your children? Because here it is, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about this, and I'm glad you're here to kind of provide context and information about this. If you're sitting at home in a traumatized state, traumatized life, traumatized decision making, your kids are eating that up.
Daily.
And as much as you think you're not showing them, y'all know this, right? Y'all grown-ups know this.
Come
They
on.
absorb it all. So if you're sitting at home depressed, you don't know which way is up, they see that too.
Yes.
So as much as it's stigmatized for you to go get help and coaching or whatever, we hear, like like Jada Kiss said, I'm outside, I'm right here on the thing. Like we here.
We
We
out
here.
there.
So you're going to see more. Like, I know I'm just one man, Felicia's just one woman, but this collaboration thing,
Yeah.
And being able to have different people on different platforms and everybody just really trying to push these narratives out here, we can start to try to change the narrative because a lot of us people talk about we didn't have tools and I don't know what tools. You look at your 20-year-old that don't have any tools, you watching this show right now.
Yeah.
So now you know that there's tools available, even if you didn't know before today. Don't
Yeah.
set them up for the same thing because we've been through it.
Yeah.
We've been hurt and crushed and crucified and anguish and tear. We know what that feels like. It's not to say they won't experience it, but give them some ammo that they can carry through their lives because
Yeah.
it's going to happen. Life happens. Life happens. So do it for yourself because without you being good, they don't have anybody to cling on to. So I always talk about this even to myself. If I go down, the whole ship crumbles.
Yes.
I got to make sure I'm good too. But those of us who have, and I say kids, I don't necessarily mean toddlers. Your kid could be 30.
Mm-hmm.
Arm them with some tools. Let them know that this thing is not like it's not a joke. You can get a coach, you can get a therapist, so that you don't have to go through it. And I'm saying this from my heart. I'm passionate about this because I went through it. I put some people through it. We talking about relationship hurt.
Yeah.
And our kids don't have to go through it the same way. They may go through it a different way, but they don't have to go through it the same way.
Yeah.
You at age 50 don't have to go through it the same way. If you out here single and trying to find, you don't have to go through it the same way you did when you was 30.
All right.
You don't. We got the internet now. You can go YouTube some stuff or Google. I live in Atlanta and I'm looking for a therapist or a coach because I want to go sit with some. It's there. It's there. And where are you out of?
I am in Miami, Florida.
Oh,
Sunny.
you down in the sun. Yeah. So okay. So let me ask you this: do you do virtual stuff?
Virtual, online, and I travel.
Okay. So I'm gonna wrap this up. But I need to get that off my chest because trauma,
That's good stuff.
hurt, pain, it's heavy.
Yeah.
There's people on here right now that got the world on their back and they don't know how they're going to function and move because of trauma. Trauma from childhood, trauma from yesterday.
Yeah.
You can do it. There's people out here that care. Like I always tell people, there's some coaches on here right now. We don't always get the kudos and the thanks for what we do. And I just told somebody earlier today, you gotta love this to do this. You gotta really love it because if it was about the money, we'd
Yeah.
quit tomorrow. You gotta love this. You
Come
gotta
on.
really give a damn about people
Yeah.
to really function in this
I
space.
really care. Really care.
And if you see me, Felicia, if you see a lot of these other people that I connect with and see the people who they connect with, we can build this thing exponentially as coaches, as therapists, and then the people who would use our services, they can then see that it's not a scary thing
Yeah.
to ask for help.
Oh, you said the key word.
It's
Ask
not
for help.
because I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna keep saying this as a man, that devastation, the ego we have, the pride we have, to feel the disloyalty, the hurt, the pain, and to sit in that and to not be able to purge it because you don't know how to manage it. And so you going out here just destroying everything. You angry as hell. You doing all this crazy stuff. You don't have to destroy other people.
Right.
We do it so passe as men. I'm talking about men right now. We do it as really passe. We go out here and wreck your life because somebody hurt us in the 10th grade. And then we get pissed off when you angry.
Hmm.
I'm gonna leave that there. That's a whole nother show. Um, So I'm gonna say I'm a so you said you do virtual. So I need, and I'm not here to kind of blow up your capacity, but I'm gonna let you let people know how to find you because I deal with that too. Like people are like, I'm gonna tell all my thousands of friends. I'm like, hold on, man, wait, I can't help everybody. So I'm gonna let you talk about your services, reiterate to people what you do, and then I'm gonna let you do that and let them know how they can find you.
So I always say to people when they be like, "Oh, I'm gonna say share you with everybody." Everybody know if you're under the sound of my voice, you've heard me speak, you see me, they're gonna know that I am their assignment. They're
Yeah.
gonna know that I'm their tribe. Like they're gonna know. So when you hear me speak, you're gonna be like, I need her. So my company is called Heal Your Story Live LLC. And you can find me at healyourstory.live. And really simple, I do one-on-one coaching, I do group coaching, and actually I have a life after trauma retreat, beach retreat, coming up in November. So I'm
Okay.
excited about that because we're going to be on the beach. We're going to self-discover some things, recover some things, and reclaim some things because a lot of times we want to walk in freedom but don't know how to walk in our freedom. And it's time for us to really experience being free and being whole, being healed. I am on all social media platforms, mostly on Instagram at I am.Felicia Johnson. And I just love helping people. I love helping the misfits, those that been hurt, wounded, broken, because you're deserving of a beautiful life, period. I don't care what has happened, what has broken or wounded you, who said that you wasn't amount to anything. Like you are deserving of a beautiful life. You deserve to live peacefully. You deserve hope. You deserve all good things. And so that's what I stand for because I know what it feels like to be broken. I know what pain feel like. It ain't cute. I already know what it feel like. So I wanted to try something different and try healing, try peace and wholeness. And so I am Felicia Johnson, y'all.
I had to give you a, like I said, we gonna have you back um in some way, shape, or form. It might not even be on my show because I know some folks.
That's fine.
But um I know a couple folks right now that need you on their show, like yesterday. Because we all have audiences. Hey, matter of fact, let's use your word, misfits. I'm an advocate for misfits because I'm a misfit, right? I'm a proud misfit. I don't fit, right? And my one of my brothers on the Real Shop Talk show named John Singletary, he just did a podcast about the misfit toys
Mhm.
from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I was like, yo, if you feel like you don't fit, it doesn't mean you don't have value.
Come on. Come on.
And it took me a long time to learn that because I never fit. I
Yeah.
never fit in my mind. I never fit. I was always picked last. So I know what that
Yeah.
space feels like to be ignored and to feel like everything is like nobody's listening to me. I
Right.
get it. Let me tell you something. You just said that you like I champion misfits too. Sometimes excessively so, but I really think that there's a beautiful thing about people who don't fit the mold, who don't go over and beyond to try to make themselves fit when they know they don't. That's
Yeah.
not your space.
Ooh,
That's not your
that's
lane. That's
good.
not your
That's good.
calling.
That's good. Ooh,
Let's I might need to do a show or something
that's
just
good.
wrapped
That's good.
around misfits
I
because
like it.
y'all everybody has value, man. Like everybody on here, a lot of the coaches I talk to, like we all the same. Like we all come from the same place. A lot of us are introverts. We just be sitting in the cut watching. Um,
Observing stuff.
it's a huge thing to have an introvert do a doggone live show in front of hundreds and thousands of people, right?
Hello.
You
You
gotta
know,
love this with the skin under your fingernails to be able to be one of those people that like to sit in the corner and you up here like, hi, my name is Derek Jones and I'm a relationship coach.
hello.
It ain't easy, folks, but I do it because I love y'all. I
Yeah.
want I want everybody to do better and be better. That's why my tagline is better relationships need better ingredients. It's
Yeah.
those little things. that we overlook that could change the trajectory of our lives and our relationships. So again, Felicia, and I'm going to have her information in the show notes for the podcast. So when y'all go back for the audio or the video, I'll put it in the description so that y'all can find her. But yeah, and the other thing I want to talk about before we get off of here. So the power of opening your mouth and networking with people and meeting people and saying hello. Yeah. I want Clubhouse. Again, I'm an introvert, but I open my mouth and I said, I need you on the show. It's these connections. Yeah. So now me being connected to her just gave you all value that you wouldn't have got if I didn't open my mouth. And it happens all the time, but it requires you to see value in other humans and connecting with other humans, because I think we're getting away from that. Yeah. And so this show right here, this was an amazing show. I felt this one in my bones. I know a lot of people are feeling everything that you said. They're feeling some stuff that I said. We can do this together. We all feeling this right now. Right? Somebody on here gonna be crying after this show. I guarantee it. It might be me, but we got to get it out. Yeah. We got to get it out, ladies and gentlemen. So I thank you again. Like I said, we're gonna see you again soon. I'm gonna keep in touch with you. This was amazing. And like I always tell people on these shows, there was a point where in maybe the COVID time, 2020, where I was in a bad spot mentally, and I was just like, I really want you to send me some genuine people that really rock with me, that see the value of what I'm doing, and it started happening. But it's like an explosion. Like everybody that I am actually choosing to connect with end up being just dope. Like I'm on a whole panel full of men on Monday, right?
Right.
I didn't know these dudes, but now we like this.
Love it.
Like that. Because we all have the same vision. Yeah. So like I always say, things don't happen for no reason at all. So let's just keep building. Like I said, I'm gonna keep in touch with you. I know some folks gonna be hitting me up like, I need her on my show. We gotta help each other. So on that note, guys, I want you guys to have a fantastic rest of your day.
Don't forget to tune into Derek Jones' 100th show. You about to let y'all leave and forget.
This is what I'm talking about. Yes.
Wait a minute. He not gonna speed past me like he ain't gonna tell me that his 100th show is going to be what, next week?
Next week, Wednesday.
So y'all need to know. Y'all know we gotta show love. We know you know we gotta celebrate. Y'all know. So tune in next week, Wednesday.
I didn't pay her for this, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, come back. It's the 100th show celebration. I have folks that you guys all know and love. The whole Shop Talk crew is going to be there. Erica from Dope Discussions are going to be on here. Tashura Talks This in the Comments going to be here. Kalisha Patrice that you saw on the Real Shop Talk show a week or so ago. We're all just going to be there celebrating, and we're going to have a blind show where they don't know the relationship questions they're going to get, and they just going to be on the hot seat, and we just going to have a good old time. So make sure you come back. That's Wednesday the 25th. If you on YouTube, make sure that you are subscribed and clicking the bell so that you get notified, because we're going to have fun. And from there, that's not the end. Like, we're going to keep helping each other and doing this thing, because I'm a firm believer, just like my man Tony Watts from the Real Talk Show, the community matters too. We gotta get this thing going. So on that note, thank you again, Felicia, for coming on the show. Thank you, everybody in the comments. I love you guys. Keep coming back. We got some amazing things. 100 episodes. You got to understand what this means to a podcaster, right? Most podcasters don't last past a few episodes and they quit. There may be a lot of them out there, but a lot of them are not continually posting content. This does not happen to most people. I want to say it's like a ridiculous number, like like 70, 80, it's some big number of podcasters who don't last past like 10 episodes or something. So it's huge. So yeah, we're gonna get off of here. Thank you again. And we will see. I will see you guys next week on the anniversary, the 100th episode show celebration. And I may have some goodies for the commenters. I have to see what I can do. You know, always got tricks up my sleeve. So make sure you come back next week. Invite your friends, your family. We're gonna talk about a whole bunch of different relationship topics, and we just gonna go. So y'all have a good night. I always say, please stay safe out there. Please take care of the old ones, the young ones, everybody in between. And I'll see you next week. Have an amazing rest of your night. And good night.
Good night.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning